Hello, this is Jess, and we're going to go right into our tidbits of history for this Wednesday evening, December 13th, chat session number 43. And we're off. First tidbit of history is the year 2000. Vice President Al Gore reluctantly concedes defeat to Texas Governor George W. Bush in his bid for the presidency following weeks of legal battles over the recounting of votes in Florida. There was a lot of controversy, I recall, with Chads, or I don't know what the term was, but in this little article I read, they didn't talk about it, so maybe I'm thinking of something else. But yeah, it was a Chad, the way I don't know. So it was like one of the most contested elections in our electoral history. There was so much controversy and counting and people suing and holding up everything, and nothing different, nothing new. This guy, down there in Alabama wants to count and recount and say it was rigged and this and that, and I don't know. Politics are entertaining and scary. Now we're going to go to 1983. The Detroit Pistons defeat the Denver Nuggets by a score of 186 to 184 in triple overtime in the highest scoring game in the history of the NBA. The previous record was held by the San Antonio Spurs and Milwaukee Bucks, 171 to 166. Triple overtime win by the Spurs in 1982. Both the Detroit Pistons and the Denver Nuggets beat the single game high score of 173 set by the Boston Celtics in a game against the Minneapolis Lakers in 1959. I believe they moved to Los Angeles a year later, or something in that time frame is when the Lakers moved to Los Angeles. So at this point they were known as the Minneapolis Lakers. But anyway, that's our tidbits of history for this day, 1983 and 2000. Went to the doctor, got, I guess, the best news you could get, that I don't have to do any more procedures. Everything came back clear, and I don't have any worries of stuff spreading. They said it's been all removed, so everything's good. Waiting for the bills to roll in. It's going to be fun. But money for life, life for money. I don't know. You have to put priorities where priorities are. So I'm glad I was able to have good care. And as far as my medical care, it was good. I had issues about communication to me, but beyond that, I thought my care medically was very sufficient, and as a person that is sick or has issues, it's horrible that your money level determines the kind of treatment and the treatment. Your money level determines your care, different things. And I understand, to a point, but I do believe that it's a shame when somebody that doesn't have financially the ability to get the care, and so they don't, and it ends up consuming their life, that kind of stuff. I don't know how true or how often that actually does happen, but in the scheme of things, I would think that it could happen a lot. But I also, in the same breath, would say that there is always, in the United States anyway, there's always certain places where you can get care. It may not be the best care in the world, but at least it will solve an immediate problem if it's urgent care at that moment, or may be able to set up some kind of help for people that need further treatment and can't afford it. So it's there. I don't understand why there's not more availability of that. I mean, truthfully, I can understand nobody wants to pay for medical care, but at the same time, it's what sustains us in our time of need when disease hits us, or things happen, broken bones and just stuff like that. It happens in life, and I know there's no simple cure for it. That's funny. There's no cure as long as we're mired in this Republican Democrat conflict that continues to consume all the different levels of sustenance that we as United States citizens should have. All this inner battle fighting, first of all, let's go to when something's passed, and they, one side will come and say, well, we'll pass it, but we're going to put this in here. It has nothing to do with what the bill's about. I don't understand where that became something that we just allow, where somebody from this side can say, yeah, we'll vote for that, but we're going to put this in there. But we're not going to tell anybody about it. We're just going to slide it out in there, and it's going to pass with the bill. And, I mean, come on. Does that sound fair to you? To be allowed to say, yeah, I'll vote for something that's really good for people to make myself look good, but you're going to do something for me, and we're going to stick this thing in here, and it's going to become part of this. I don't understand that. Who said they could do that? Why can't we just get a piece of paper? It's funny because the Treasury Department, Schmitty or whatever the guy's name is, I don't even know. The one who, Secretary of the Treasury, I apologize, sir, I don't know your name. I can't think of it. I know it, but I don't want to misquote and say the wrong name. But anyway, he took the tax bill and he got a regular piece of paper and typed in whatever the group, the Republicans said is going to happen if we do this tax bill, and put it in with all this stuff inside the Treasury thing, and passed that as a memo. It didn't have shit on it, no information whatsoever of anything. It just assumed because this is what the Trump administration said is going to happen, then this is what's going to happen with this tax bill and the money. And he put it out there. Now, I disagree with the content, but I love the one-page memo, man. Got to the point, you can get it, you can read it, you know what is going on. Some of these bills that they write up have thousands of pages, hundreds of pages. I mean, it's ridiculous. Hey, here's a bill for education. We're going to give teachers across the board a 10% raise. Ready? Okay, here's the bill. We're going to give teachers 10% raise. Bam. Why do you need 500 pages to read about, because you're going to do this for the teachers? Yeah, I know all the bullshit that people are going to come up and say, well, what about this and what about that? No, everything doesn't have to be difficult. The incoming president should have a monetary budget that is preset. And that's what he has to work with during his term. No more, no less. And he has to distribute all this stuff, and if he's going to do something, he has to pay for it. And he has to really look at his balance versus what he wants to do. And that's how things can become bills and stuff, because you have a certain amount of income, not income, but just set aside money, and you want to do this stuff while you're president. Well, that stuff costs money. So you have a budget set for your term, and you can pull that money out and you can put it on all these things. And if you're a thrifty spender, you don't have no control. That money's going to be gone, and everything stops until your presidency ends. And I know that sounds crazy, maybe, but think about that. We have this $trillion deficit, whatever. I mean, whatever the hell. So stupid. How anything could get so out of whack. $1 trillion, people. Come on. Listen to that. $1 trillion. Not just 1, 2, or 3. I don't know how many there are now. Of debt. Well, when does it stop? It seems like we can just keep adding debt and just keep living and doing what we're doing, and nobody does nothing. It's ridiculous. So we're going to set aside of each presidency from here on out, 4-year term. They're going to make payments on that shit, and with this money that they're budgeted. And it's going to be set aside, and there's not going to be all this adding on and taking out and putting in, and it's going to be, this is what you got, and if you spend it all because you're not a thinker about how to save money, then you might be out of there early on the presidency because you didn't know what the heck you're doing. It's called control. So I think that would just eliminate so much spending. If these people want to fly on jets and they want to frickin' drink margaritas and play golf because that's what we elect them to go do, not really, but that's what they do, but we pay for that too. No. Here's the budget that they have, and all those beautiful cars and cocktail parties and balls and galas and whatever you're going to do up there when you're there and acting in our government, taking flights with your family. It's all good, but when that money's gone, y'all are grounded too. Enough's enough, man. We got to get control of this from the source, and the source is our government. It's out of control on spending. So here's how much the next president gets, and if he fucking ain't enough, well, then that's what happens. I mean, come on. It's time to tighten it up. And it starts from the above, but it also starts underneath. And everyone down on the bottom where I'm at, I don't know if I'm the very bottom, but I'm okay where I'm at, but it's in a matter of status of how people might view me. It has to start where I'm at. It has to start by taking steps to analyze, to look at, to get rid of all the junk that's in the way of making simple laws, making simple legislation, and get rid of this Democrat-Republican bullcrap and start looking at what's good for the people that live here, that vote you in. It used to be that way, folks. We've gone wrong. Greed, lawlessness, chaos, it's all been allowed to just emerge inside our government, and nobody's saying nothing about it because they're having such a good time up there. It's time to stop it. Alright, we gotta stop. It's almost 15. I've never gone this long before. I'm rattling on about this because I think that it's wrong. Anyway, be truthful, be happy, and let's look out for each other, okay? Football picks week 15 coming tomorrow, and this is chat session number 43, Wednesday night. Have a great evening.